Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name is John. Today we have another episode with Matt Bond. He goes by Cut Professor on Instagram. This one's all about cooking. If you guys want to get better at cooking your fish that you catch and shoot, then it's definitely worth listening to the master. Let's dive in. Let's switch topics a little bit because I feel like the real reason that I first reached out to you is because your Instagram is just phenomenal when it comes to food. Just like now that I found out that you were trained as a chef, and you've gone down that road, and you're
like Steven Seagal said, I'm just a cook, right? I was never a head chef. I'm a cook, right? So I will. There's a whole different thing about being a chef and commanding an entire kitchen, but I have to respect people that really are chefs. I'm a cook.
Gotcha. I'm using chef too loosely right there, but I just mean you put in the grind from the guy making salads all the way up to to being really good with a knife and everything.
It's something I've spent a tremendous and still spend a tremendous amount of time on. I geek out on it. So yeah, I put on, like if you look at levels to mastery in terms of how much time you've have to spend on something, I've spent my life cooking. So absolutely. And going places and tasting food. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Let's let people know in case they're on Instagram right now. What's your handle real quick so they can start looking at some of this?
It's Salabat 408. So SALABAT 408. Salabat 408.
What does that stand for?
Oh, it's so silly. Salabat is, my wife is Filipino.
I was about to say I'm Filipino, so I'm like, that sounds very familiar.
You know Salabat, right?
But what is I forgot.
Ginger. It's ginger steeped in hot water for when you're sick.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, my grandma would say it, but I forgot what it was. It's been a while. Salabat.
Years ago, I was making an account on Flickr, and every freaking name that I was trying to use had already been taken. And my wife was drinking Salabat. So I said, I'll just try Salabat. And Salabat worked on Flickr. So I am the only Salabat on Flickr. When I went to make an Instagram account, there was lots of Salabats already. So I am Salabat 408 on Flickr. On Instagram, Salabat 408. Yeah.
That's awesome. So when it comes to cooking, I know you probably have a whole gambit of things that you like, but what do you like to focus on the most? Is it raw fish or is it cooking it in a certain way?
It really depends on, you and I talked a little bit before the recording. I'm really blessed with having phenomenal food supply. So I've got a garden going all the time. I have a bunch of citrus trees and different fruit trees. I have friends that do similar stuff to me in terms of hunting and fishing and foraging and things like that. So I really get inspired by what I have. I learned, particularly if you want to learn raw stuff, obviously I think Japanese is one of the best cuisines to learn raw food from, and they are huge on seasonality. I mean, they only harvest certain fish certain times a year because of fat content and stuff like that. So it's fun. I just look at a fish sometimes or look at whatever I have and go, this is what I think tastes good. Like I've got a bunch of mustard that's going to flower in the garden right now. And sometimes it'll start with, I want to use that mustard to make something. And I go, okay, I've got I made the other day, I've got a vermilion rockfish, which is a cool fish for me to get, especially spear. And the fat from vermilion rockfish tastes really good with something bitter, like a bitter green, like mustard, right? And then, so I'm thinking, that'll be good. And then what would go good with that? And I made this sauce called sauce maltaise, which is it's basically like Béarnaise sauce. So it's a hollandaise sauce, but you caramelize shallots. And then you reduce, instead of vinegar, I have blood oranges on my tree right now. So you reduce blood. Oh man, that's a good combo. So that's how I do it. I just think about things like that, or I'll taste something, or I look at other people's stuff on Instagram and it looks good. The other day I made fish curry. I think 2 days ago, my wife wanted fish curry. So I made fish curry, that's how, yeah. So fish, I just, instead of throwing it away or throwing it back into the ocean, although I do that sometimes, I dig a hole around the yard, various trees, try to rotate the where I do it, and bury 18 inches, 24 inches deep.
Whole carcass?
Whole carcass, and the parts that I don't use, if you see my cooking, so I try to use just about everything, but guts in particular, other than the liver, I use that a lot of times, but I'll bury the guts and whatever I have left over, and the trees love it. It's about, yeah.
Now I know you said you read the whole fish book.
Yeah.
Is there any book else that you like, or do you like specific things from that one?
I like so in that book, so ikejime he talks about a lot, which is a way to kill and then remove the spinal column or spinal fluid from fish, and it helps it last longer, and it changes the flavor profile by stopping signals from the brain that are telling the body it's dying. That's the easiest way I can say it. So he talks a lot about that. He talks a lot about dry processing, so not getting fresh water on fish. I like that stuff a lot. His aging stuff. I did a aged. It's on Instagram. I aged a piece of sheephead, California sheephead, and I made a lomo, like a Spanish style. You'd normally make it out of the back strap of a pig, and it was phenomenal, like really good, cold smoked. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. You know, I would, believe it or not, like if I was going to learn how to cook, like The Joy of Cooking, that old, it's got the checkered tablecloth thing on it. I think everyone needs to know how to make like basic sauces and stock and that type of stuff. If I could go one step further, I was part of a catch and cook competition that a guy named Eric Keener put on this year. You spear a couple fish. They had professional chefs judge. It was pretty awesome. It was alarming to see how inadequate most of the really good spearfishermen are at filleting their fish or dealing with their fish. And I think before that, even sharpening their knives. My buddy Jack Kim walked around as a public service and helped people fillet fish. So like to give other people a recommendation, I would learn how to properly care for your fish and then fillet your fish and sharpen your knives. That's where I would start. No disrespect. I just think, man.
Well, I don't think it's disrespect, man. I think it's just the fact. Like I'm going through this stuff right now, right? It's like I've caught fish, trout, and whatever. Usually had my dad gut it, and we'd grow it over a fire as a kid. But I'm relatively new to spearfishing, only a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's like when you start getting good at it and you start shooting a lot of fish, you have to start learning that next step.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't think there's a lot right now of like enough people showing the journey. It's either like really good spearfishing videos or you have like chefs, or like people doing something that doesn't kind of link the two. So I'm like, we should all just be kind of sharing more of this because
I tried to post. There's a couple. I was teaching my son how to fillet sheephead that he speared, and then there's a couple of me doing like the two common ways where you would trace over the rib cage or go through the rib cage. I put those online. I've been asked a couple times to do that and how to cut sushi and things like that. So I'll do more of that, I think.
I think that'd be huge, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that type of stuff. I just want everyone to we are so blessed with such good fish in California, and I get like people know I want to get a white sea bass or halibut or yellowtail or tuna and those salmon. A lot of the reef fish are so delicious, and it's funny, like people from there's a French gentleman who I spent a lot of time chatting with on Instagram, and he's just so stoked on all of the reef fish that he's spearing sargo, which are very similar to the sargo that they have in the Mediterranean, and they're freaking delicious, man. You just got to know how to eat them.
Dude, sargo is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love
most
sargo.
People think they're perch, right? I mean, they and all of the perch that we have are so good raw.
Even white perch are good.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I've been starting to do this kind of like trash fish kind of exploratory thing. I know you keep telling me to go raw, but I'm like, I want to try cooking before
I'll cook them first. Yeah. Well, so if you're Filipino, man, the sinigang, do you eat that?
Yeah.
So perch are great in sinigang. Like perch are really, really good because it's really a nice soft meat. It cooks very quickly. So you just throw it in when the broth's done. You don't even cook it at all. You just throw it in and turn it off. And perch is nice in sinigang. Sinigang, for the people that aren't Filipino, is a sour soup, and the base is usually guava or tamarind, depending on what you're making it with, and it usually has some kind of bitter green in there, and some sort of starch like either potatoes or taro, and like with big fish heads, lingcod heads, and sea bass heads, phenomenal. I put the eggs in too, so like if I get a big sea bass and you have the eggs, you put the eggs in the broth, and it kind of thickens the broth.
Never
Dynamite.
Heard that sounds great.
Yeah, I'll do that. I had the Filipinos over one time for a big party. Might have even been during our wedding years ago.
How are your ears?
My ears?
Yeah, because it's always loud as hell.
Oh,
With
I'm talking about from
Filipino.
diving. Yeah, it is always loud as hell. Um, anyway, they're very impressed. I do a good job making sinigang. They don't believe the white guy. They think my wife makes it, but it's me. So yeah, I have a good time doing that.
You've given me some good ideas right there, because it's
Oh
like
yeah,
all the Filipino food growing up that I've had is always brown. Like there's just not a lot of vegetables or any of that stuff, but
yeah.
it's like very delicious food. You know, it might kill you fast, but it's delicious. And I think I should probably start exploring some of that. My grandpa was a cook in the Navy forever,
Oh, is that
so
right?
so that's how I kind of learned how to make pancit and
Yeah,
adobo and torta and a whole bunch of other
yeah.
things. But
How about paksiw? Do you ever eat paksiw?
I've had it. I
Yeah,
don't
so
make it. Like I don't make enough. So
but paksiw is another one, man. Like so the fattier kind of like sheep head that have kind of blubber or a lot of collagen are really good for paksiw. Like my father-in-law paksiws. Every time I give him a sheep head, he wants the head so he can make paksiw. Paksiw is like a vinegar garlic. Um, yeah, really delicious. They traditionally make it with catfish,
mhm.
and so if you can think of fish that kind of have that collagen underneath the skin like catfish, sheephead is a really good one to make it with.
I would hope in the future you make the quintessential guide to cooking local fish, man. I think like that's like I'm
It's
missing
been
a
asked over
table,
and over and over, man.
dude.
You
I
just
want
saw,
that.
like, I run around a lot. To sit me down, I've got like adult ADD. I need someone to follow me around with a tape recorder. And then my problem too is I don't cook from recipes really. So like then I have to stop and figure out how much of what I put in and all of that. So I need someone with some professional ability to quantify what the heck I'm doing. I'm big on ratios, not on exact
But
measurements.
that's it, right?
Yeah,
That's the ratios are everything.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
How old's your kid?
So I have my son is 13, Noah. He's been spearfishing with me, and my daughter Kalia is 16, and they're both about to turn. Kalia's helping me make pizza tonight, so she's in charge of the dough, which is
I
raising.
feel like you've already found your people to start videotaping.
Yeah, I know. They always talk about it. They want to put me in. They want me to make dumbass dances on TikTok and stuff like that. So I'm always afraid to
Don't get
have.
on TikTok, man. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I probably won't. Probably won't.
Hey, one more thing before you go. Are you looking for other folks who like to catch fish? Well, if you are, join our free fish catchers group on Discord. Just like a little club, just with like-minded people who like to catch fish, share knowledge. Just head over to castandspear.com/club for a link, and it'll go straight over there. Whether you like to spearfish, surf fish, kayak fish, you name it. If you just like to catch fish, we want to chat. All right, see you guys in there.